Welcome back to Droanacharya IAS YouTube channel. You're watching daily editorial analysis. So आज इस वीडियो में हमेशा की तरह हम कुछ important editorials, important articles cover करेंगे. In this video, we'll be covering 15th July's important article. हम आज वीडियो में दो important issues discuss करेंगे. First is the draft on the national policy on disability. एंड देन देर इज अ रो ओवर अनपार्लियामेंट्री लैंग्वेज. इन दो इश्यूज को हम आज की इस वीडियो में कवर करेंगे. लेट्स बिगिन विद इट. तो हमारा आज का पहला आर्टिकल द ड्राफ्ट नेशनल पॉलिसी ऑन डिसेबिलिटी. दिस इज इम्पॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम पेपर 2 पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. इट्स एन इम्पॉर्टेंट गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी. डिसेबिलिटी डिसेबल लोगों के लिए पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी एक इम्पॉर्टेंट ड्राफ्ट आया है. सो इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर अस टू नो अबाउट इट. So, the Social Justice and Empowerment Ministry has invited public feedback on the new draft national policy on person with disability. So, feedback मांगा गया है by the Social Justice and Empowerment Ministry on the new draft of national policy on persons with disability. See, this article is important from paper 2 point of view. It's an important policy. आपको पता होना चाहिए कि इंडिया के अंदर पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी का स्टेटस क्या है. व्हाट आर द एफर्ट्स टेकन फॉर पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज. कौन कौन से एफर्ट्स लिए गए हैं. करंटली क्या ड्राफ्ट जो आया है वो क्या है. इसके बारे में जानना ज़रूरी है. व्हाट आर द इश्यूज विद इट एंड एवरीथिंग. सो लेट्स बिगिन विद इट. ना सबसे पहले स्टेटस की बात करें तो अकॉर्डिंग टू 2011 सेंसस, number of persons with disability in India, it is at 2.68 crores. It basically means that 2.21%, 2.21% of Indian population has some form of disability. Global average लेकर चलें तो that is around 15%. एंड इंडिया में हमारे पास 2.21% इंडियन पॉपुलेशन किसी न किसी तरह की डिसेबिलिटी से गुजर रही है. एज पर सेंसस 2011, अगर हम लिटरेसी रेट की बात करें इन द टोटल पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी, द लिटरेसी रेट पॉपुलेशन इज अबाउट 55%, जिसमें मेल लिटरेसी 62% है और फीमेल लिटरेसी 45% है. हायर एजुकेशन देखें तो only 5% of person with disability they are graduate and above. जो हमारा 2011 का सेंसस है वो ये भी शो करता है दैट अराउंड 36% ऑफ द टोटल पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी दे आर एम्प्लॉयड, जिसमें से कि 47% मेल हैं और 23% फीमेल हैं. तो यहाँ पे आप लिटरेसी का डाटा भी देख सकते हो, आप यहाँ पे हायर एजुकेशन भी देख रहे हो और एम्प्लॉयमेंट का डेटा भी देख रहे हो. Then what are the efforts taken by the government for person with disability? So there is relief to person with disabilities is a state subject. Because इसकी जो एंट्री है वो लिस्ट 2 में आती है. तो पहली चीज आपको पता होना चाहिए कि डिसेबिलिटी, पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी और इनको क्या रिलीफ्स मिलने चाहिए. This is basically a state subject. Then we have an important act, 1995 Act, the Person with Disabilities, Equal Opportunities, Protection of Right and Full Participation Act 1995. This was created कि हमारे पास जो पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज हैं उनके लिए एक इंक्लूसिव इन्वायरमेंट क्रिएट हो सके. एंड इट बेसिकली रिकॉग्नाइजेस 7 कैटेगरीज ऑफ डिसेबिलिटीज. Then after this, in 2006, central government formulated the national policy for person with disabilities. And this policy was based on the principle of equality, freedom, justice, and dignity of all the individuals. Also, in 2007, India became a party to United Nations Convention on the Rights of Person with Disability. यूनाइटेड नेशन CRPD, राइट्स ऑफ पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज, इसकी इंडिया पार्टी बनती है इन 2007. इट्स अ प्रीमियर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, अ प्रीमियर बॉडी व्हेन इट कम्स टू the rights of person with disabilities. So, what effort has been taken apart from this? One, we have 1995 Act, then we have the national policy. So, if we talk about sustainable development goals, which are adopted by United Nations in 2015, it also seeks to promote the peaceful and inclusive societies. The Right of Person with Disability Act 2016 now it recognizes 21 categories. Before this, there were 7 categories that were recognized, but in 2016, the Right of Person with Disabilities has recognized 21 categories. India is also a party to the Incheon strategy for Asia Pacific Decade of Person with Disability 2013 से लेकर 2022 तक. This is the decade of the person with disabilities. It is prepared under the aegis of UN Escape, which identifies 10 goals for the Asia Pacific countries to ensure that there is inclusion and empowerment of persons with disabilities. Along with this, हमारा जो डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एम्पावरमेंट है, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एम्पावरमेंट ऑफ पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज, it started implementing unique disability ID, UDID, Unique Disability ID project. This was basically done to create a national database for person with disabilities. So, अब जो ये current draft आया है, what is it all about? There's a committee which was headed by Anjali Bhavra and under the Department of Empowerment of Person with Disabilities. And it came forward, it was formed to come up with the draft, and now we have the draft. It basically revised the existing policy. हमारा जो national draft policy on a public a person with disability है, this basically said that a revision is needed. जो हमारा नेशनल पॉलिसी ऑन डिसेबिलिटी है जो कि 2006 में ड्राफ्ट हुआ था, देर इज सम रिवीजन दैट इज नीडेड, एंड उसकी रिवीजन के लिए ये हमारे पास ड्राफ्ट आया है, द ड्राफ्ट नेशनल पॉलिसी ऑन पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी. नाउ इस ड्राफ्ट में जो ट्रेडिशनल कॉजेज थे विच कॉज डिसेबिलिटीज, उसे बढ़ाया गया है. इट इज मूव्ड बियॉन्ड दैट. It has also covered malnutrition, medical negligence, socio-cultural factors, and impairment which is caused by the disasters. If we talk about prevention, it also called for comprehensive national program on the prevention. This will basically include, the disabilities added in the, RPD Act and other medical conditions that are risk cases. The draft basically stated that 1/3 of most disabilities in children were preventable if they are detected early. तो ये एक इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ है कि अगर मोस्टली जो बच्चों में जो डिसेबिलिटीज आती हैं, अगर उनको जल्दी डिटेक्ट कर लिया जाए तो दे आर प्रिवेंटेबल. Now, there is also this permission or recognition to the education institutions. The policy basically states that the states and UTs should add a provision on compliance with, to the RPD Act when granting permission. किसी भी education institution को permission देने से पहले ये देखना होगा कि क्या उस education institution ने जो RPD Act है, Rights of Person with Disability Act, इस एक्ट के प्रोविजंस को उन्हें कंप्लायंस किया है या नहीं. इसी के बेसिस पे जो परमिशन है, जो रिकग्निशन है, वो मिलनी चाहिए. Also, there is a module on disability, and that should be, included in MBBS and other medical courses as well. A separate module on disability. Apart from this, accessible vehicles. Ministry of Road Transport and Highways will issue all the necessary guidelines for making modification in the present vehicles being used by the person with disability as per the requirement. So for person with disability, there has to be accessible vehicles, and for this, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways will issue necessary guidelines. to make all the kind of modifications that are needed. Then also there is comprehensive development. The policy document highlights as detailed committed to education, health, skill development, employment, sports, culture, social security, accessibility, and other institutional mechanism. So there has to be a comprehensive development. What are the challenges faced by person with disabilities in terms of their political inclusion? Here comes an important issue of political participation, political empowerment. We have the Convention on Rights of Person with Disability. We have Incheon goals. All of this promote the participation of person with disabilities in the political processes, along with decision making. But yet, India does not have any policy which is committed towards it that will aim at enhancing the political participation of the disabled people. The barriers to participation in party politics, or the lack of representation at the local level or state level or even the national level, it has all aggravated the marginalization of disabled. Inaccessibility in voting. The rights of person with disability, this act prescribes that Election Commission of India, along with this State Election Commission, shall ensure that all the polling stations and electoral processes are accessible to the person with disabilities. However, there is no widespread adaptation of the barrel electronic voting machines and even wheelchair services at the polling centers. So all of this results in less political empowerment, less participation. Also, there is lack of data. There is lack of aggressive data on exact number of disabled people in every constituency. इससे और भी ज़्यादा marginalization हो जाती है. There is inadequate representation. Disabled people are not represented enough at all the levels, be it local level, state level, national level of governance. The first visually disabled member of parliament in our independent India was Sadhan Gupta. He hardly find any mention in our political or disability discourse. However, there are few states that have begun the initiative at the local level to increase the participation. Like for example, Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh has started the initiative of nominating at least one disabled member in their panchayat. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Now, what is the need of our? See, right now, to achieve the political inclusion, the policy that we need is for four-pronged approach. First, we need to build the capacity of disabled people organization. We need to empower their members through training in the electoral system and government structure. First is this. First, we need to build the capacity. Second is the creation and amendment, or rather the removal of all the legal regulatory framework by the lawmakers and the election bodies, so that we can encourage the political participation of disabled. It also includes inclusion of civil societies to conduct domestic election, and there has to be domestic election observation or the voter education campaigns as well. The framework for political parties to conduct a meaningful outreach to the person with disability when creating the election campaign strategies, and also developing policy positions. The political right, or rather the political participation, will only confirm the universal principle of disability. Nothing about us without us. This has to be the motto. Moving ahead, our next article is important about the unparliamentary language and the row over it. हमने हमारी करंट अफेयर वीडियो में भी इस इशू को डिस्कस किया है. This issue is important from polity point of view, as there is a major row erupted recently over the compilation of words which deem unfit for the use in Parliament. This is released by the Lok Sabha Secretariat. So, what is this unparliamentary language and the row over it? Let's talk about this. इस लिस्ट में कुछ ऐसे phrases, कुछ ऐसे words यूज किए हैं which are considered as unparliamentary. ये जो phrases हैं, ये जो words हैं, ये इंग्लिश में भी हैं और हिंदी में भी हैं. And the presiding officer have the job of keeping such words out of the parliament's record. So all the words that are present in the list, all the phrases that are present in the list are disallowed not only in the Indian Parliament but also in the state assemblies, as well as some of the parliaments of other countries as well. It comprises the words that has been expunged from the records in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha over the last few years. इसमें कुछ ऐसे वर्ड्स dodgy, betrayal, dog, frighten, hack, hypocrisy, irresponsible, liar, murder, shame. This even includes the commonplace words such as penguin, goose, fudge, grubby, saleswomen, species, yapping. All these words are included into this. Now, ये कोई पहली बार ऐसा नहीं हुआ है कि एक लिस्ट आ रही है वर्ड्स की जो कि अलाउड नहीं है. ये 1959 से चलते हुए आ रहा है. इट्स रूटीन प्रैक्टिस और इसे लगातार इस लिस्ट को अपडेट किया जाता है. After 2018, the list has been uploaded on the Lok Sabha intranet and MP's portal. And now it is amended again. So it is important for us to know that do MPs have a kind of freedom to say whatever they want inside the house? Can they say anything as they want? So here we have Article 105, Clause 2 of our Constitution, which lays down no member of Parliament shall be liable to any proceeding in any court in respect to anything that was said or any vote that was given by him in the Parliament or any committee thereof. So it does not make member of Parliament liable for any proceeding. However, it is subject to the discipline of the rules of the proceeding, the rules of the parliament. So this is what is needed so that all the members they are present in the good sense and speaker control the proceeding on the basis of rules of parliament. And rule 380, that is the rule of procedure and conduct of business in Lok Sabha, it says that if speaker is of opinion that words in debate are defamatory or they're indecent or they're unparliamentary or undignified, the speaker may exercise its discretion order and expunge such words from the proceeding of the house. So it is a process of expunging something, deleting something, erasing something, crossing out something, destroying something. And about this list, there are different responses. There are, you know, some people who are support of this list. Government sources they say that this list is basically just a compilation of expunged words. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla clarified that no words or phrases has been banned in Parliament and that the member have absolute freedom to express their views. He also said that the decision to expunge is taken only with the instruction of the Speaker or the opposition's criticism, rather the chairman, and government has no role in it. The opposition criticism is a mere compilation of all the words which are classified as unparliamentary and will not deter an MP from using them and act as a ready reference for using such words on the floor of the floor. हाउस का जो फ्लोर है उसके ऊपर आप अब किसी को भी कोई ऑपोजिशन क्रिटिसाइज कर रहा है तो अब वो अनपार्लियामेंट्री वर्ड्स यूज नहीं कर सकता. An opposition party, they see this as an attempt to restrict their vocality. So there is this altogether a row which is going on. over the unparliamentary language, the list that has been recently updated. So that is all for this video. आज की इस वीडियो के लिए इतना ही. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in my next one. Thank you.